Good morning. Been thinking more about not thinking. I've been just doing the best I can not to dwell on things. This morning, as I walked out to my car, I left my, I'm walking out to the car to grab something, and then I'm gonna just like walk back into my house so I don't, close the front door. Just let all the heat out. And but it like there's this half moment of, being aware that like leaving my door open as I walk out of the house wouldn't be something I ordinarily do, because I wouldn't want Akila to come running out of the house. And Akila's been gone for a while, and like feeling much more at peace with that. And but then there was this moment of thinking like, man, I'm really really lonely without him. And then I told myself, don't think about it. Like I've already thought a lot about it, so like right now I'm starting to tear up a little bit. So there's nothing extra I could do with my thoughts, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to miss, your dog or anybody really. What's that guy gonna do? Okay, the guy's gonna get in an accident is what he's gonna do. But I think it's like a lot of things going on in my mind. Like there's only so much you could do with information, and at some point in time, it becomes a problem. Like, dwelling on the loss of loved ones. At some point in time, it becomes a problem. I remember, like, I was doing like this deep dive on the homeless problem and the solution and the reasons why people don't want it solved and all these different things. And it's like it's just an endless pit of information, and it was making me miserable, because like the more I looked into it, the more I realized that like the reason it's not a problem for everybody, so it's not really a problem. And for a lot of people, it's a solution. Like having people be homeless creates a lot of other jobs, and it generates a lot of income that ordinarily wouldn't be going that direction, Oh. So at some point in time, you just gotta say to yourself, like, yeah, that's enough of that. That's enough of thinking about that. Now, I'm not gonna march out and solve homelessness, like Akila's passed away, and that's just the truth of things. And I'm gonna be lonely sometimes thinking about it. I think that I don't know, maybe like my obsessive thinking about things as because it doesn't happen all the time. It just happens when things get really bad. Like, it's not that I don't actually think about stuff a lot. There's times where I just start overthinking, and then it becomes bad. And I think that might just be a holdover to all the times in my life where I've just had like long periods of depression, and that focuses the brain in such a way, because like the idea is like obsessive brain power, if you're in a depressed state, will hopefully help you identify exactly what the problem is, and then you'll do something about it, and then you won't be depressed anymore, and everything will be better. So I think maybe my mind might sometimes think that like things are bad, and start kicking up my brain activity a notch, just in case. Yesterday was like that. Yesterday I was like hour after hour, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, like, my brain started kicking in, and 5 minutes seemed like it took 5 hours. It was awful. Oh boy. Though, one technique that I used when that happened, though it didn't, like, it helped a little bit, and I have to admit I gave up early. Like, I made like 2 more hours like that, and then I called in sick for the rest of the day. But not checking my watch and just trying to breathe through it. Like try to control your mind, like not I'm not thinking about that now, and just kind of like try to stay in the moment, not necessarily focus on what you're doing, because like what you really kind of want is like a mindless, empty state where you're just get into the routine and function and wait till someone says like, hey, it's almost time for you to get out of here, I'm taking over for you. You're like, oh, thank you. I'm always a little bit down for the morning videos. I don't know. I'm not even necessarily very positive. On a day off or anything like that. Like I definitely feel different on a day off when I wake up. Like I'm definitely more aware of like, boy, I get to do what I want to do. I could get up, make some coffee, and sit in front of my computer for a while, or I can wake up and make coffee, and while it's making, I could get dressed, and the second the coffee's done, I could throw it in a couple travel mugs, and then just kind of drive off into farmland that's right next to my house. Just drive around, look at buildings, say hi to animals, watch the day wake up. Sometimes think about that though, about free time. Like back in the day, I used to be really obsessive with my free time. I just fill it up. I was always looking for things to do, and if going on a bike ride, like I had this idea that like I would bike up to the top of this one mountain by sunrise, and it took me several tries, fairly large amount of tries actually, because there was no real reason to do it other than I wanted to. So like you wake up and you're like, oh boy, I better leave pretty soon, and then you don't make it. You do that a bunch of times. Suddenly like you wake up, you're like, gotta hop on the bike right now, or I won't make it. And eventually I made it. And then at one point in time, I decided to bike to all the parks in Portland. Like, there's an eagle. Glad the eagles are coming back. I was worried about the eagles. 2 eagles. I was worried about the eagles at one point in time. So eagles and a lot of birds were their populations were dwindling because of pesticides and poisons and stuff like that. Like they're getting into the food supply, and like you poison rats, and then around the farm, and then eagles eat the rats, and then they lay eggs, and the shells are not such that can support life, so that the eggs don't survive. Poor old eagles. Kind of poor old us too for not understanding the importance of poison. Like the idea that like arsenic is still used in building construction. Well, we still make money with it, right? That's the thing about like having like that overactive mind is like that's you start looking up what arsenic is used for, and then you start looking up similar chemical substances, and next thing you know, it's down the rabbit hole, and you got too much information about stuff that there's nothing you can do about. Though I don't know about like, it just seems like I don't want to live an unexamined life, man, but I'd sure like better control over my mind, better control over the level of activity and the focus. I suppose that's what meditation's all about. And also, like, I'm just now coming out of a long period of depression, so there's got to be a time for just recovery, like, you know, you made it through, like whatever, like, depression is, like a long race or something like that. I crossed the finish line, but I'm still, you know, affected by it. I'm still tired, and I'm still obviously not at 100%, and I need to rest, and rest in my mind is the answer. You know, I feel sorry for this truck behind me, but the speed limit's 45, and like, this used to be such a quiet road. There used to be farms along here, and more and more truckers started figuring out they could use it, and then more and more businesses started growing up around here, like, you know, especially like places where truckers go, like warehouses and stuff like that start popping up. And you know, then it just became like another freeway. It used to be a place where you come see deer. I suppose, you know, we saw eagles. That was nice. Deer and foxes and stuff like that. Coyotes. Oh, all sorts of things.